What's up, traders? Two trades today. One you're not going to believe. Let's get to it. All right, so I'm not even going to bore you with the live trades today because they were boring. So let's just go over the chart here. RKT, this one was pretty standard. Nice little rip here. Felt the top, pretty much almost got the top actually. 2285 was the top. We ended up getting filled at 2279. It felt like it wanted to just consolidate here and go higher. We actually put a stop at high of day, but once it kept rejecting at 2280, we decided to get an add in here as close as we could to that area, 2272. We ended up taking most of that off down there, pretty much at the bottom. It did try the half dollar. We had the second order to get out of this position sitting down here at 45. Just looking for that 50 break. It never gave it to us, so we ended up stopping out the rest break even. And as you can tell, it ended up going higher. So pretty good exit there, at least on RKT. Just a bummer we couldn't quite get that 50 break. I was hoping they would try to shoot down and get some stop loss liquidity there or something for these people that were looking for it to go higher, but unfortunately they didn't, and they just ended up running it a little bit more. So on to the trade that you're not going to believe, CARV. This thing was a 450K float, and just a lot to be learned from this. Straight up, I'll tell you, it's kind of like you're in the casino, you're a card player, and you're just on the way out, you're kind of bored, didn't really have a good session, and you see that roulette table, and you see all the flashy lights, you see the ball spinning around the wheel, and you're like, hey, you know what, let me go toss a couple bucks down on the roulette table and see what happens. And that was kind of how I felt here with CARV. It was, it was definitely a gamble. That's why I went in super small size. And I was just watching it take off, and I wasn't going to short this with a 450K float because we all know what can happen when you do that. But I was like, all those cool kids are playing those washout longs. And when I saw it happen right to this previous resistance that was sitting here, and it was the half dollar, I said, ooh. It tried to get through 50, and it kept getting bought up. And right when it came back through 50, we actually got our entry at 54, I think it was. Yep. And I was like, you know what? Let's see if we can get that push back up to high day. And unfortunately, it didn't. It kind of consolidated sideways. And I was like, man, anybody that was, pretty heavily short, we didn't really get any kind of cover squeeze or, any pop for that sloppy seconds or anything. And so it came down. It tested 8. And I said, okay, if it holds 8, we'll look to add. If not, we'll just jump out. And it held. So as it was coming back up, I said, okay, here we go. We had that previous resistance line here at 786. And I said, all right, let's see if we can make that move back up. So we got our add. It actually went up, tested 850. Now, both times we got in, we could have got out green. But when you get into a 450K float stock, you're not looking to just get out break even, right? You're looking for this thing to make a nice move. You're looking for it to be a pretty big payday. So that's what I was doing, right? I wasn't about to take chump change or just look to get out break even, especially because I went in smaller size because we knew it was a gamble in the first place. But unfortunately, it got back up here. Could have got out, like I said, but it came back down. It got under 8, and this was where I feel the only mistake I made if I was actually playing this from a technical standpoint, or if I would play these all the time, was we had previous resistance. How many times do you guys hear me say on the short side, before it decides what it wants to do, it's probably going to come back down and test a key level. Unfortunately, this 840 area was not the key level, so maybe this 786 area was, as you can see. And on top of that, the $8 area, there's going to be a bunch of stop losses right under that, so the market makers come down, eat that liquidity, and then it can decide what it wants to do. So they ran it back up. As you can see, it did get back up to 865, but then ultimately got rejected, and now it's all the way back down here again. So it's not looking too good. But if this area does hold, what do we see with these low floaters in the afternoons? You see it once that key area holds over and over again, it tends to squeeze in the afternoon. So look for that. But again, this was pure gamble, low share size. We knew what we were getting into. It was the roulette table for a card player. That's all it is. It was boredom. Couldn't find anything else today. Annoyed that we got stopped out of RKT without getting that breakdown. And we went smaller share size on RKT because it looked like a breakout on the daily. So it was right? Yeah, that's all we can get. It's not going to affect us overall. It was just kind of a break-even day for the most part, and we're just going to move on to tomorrow. So with that said, don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. I always appreciate that support. If you do have any questions or comments, leave those down below. If you want to shame me for taking that trade, go for it, but I have no shame. Every once in a while, you like to play roulette. It happens, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.